Hey everyone tuning in, Roscoe here with Apollo Price. How you doing, man?
Good. Yeah.
Very good. The last time that we talked, it was just kind of after you had joined the team. It was before Cologne, as well as a lot of before pre-scrim and stuff like that. You guys hadn't played too much together. So now we get your feedback on how you guys have been doing together, as well as how you guys are feeling coming into the split.
All right. Sounds good.
Cool. Start off with some of the questions I was given, and the first question is: esports it's been growing immensely over the years, and it's starting to look more like a kind of a real sport in comparison to some of the ones like football, basketball. But how does it feel to be somewhat of a pioneer, kind of like one of the first kind of people to, because you've been around for quite some time now. How does it feel to actually be a quote unquote pioneer in there?
I mean, it's pretty cool. I guess I don't really think about it too often because, like, I know it's like a young sport essentially, but I just play and like I just try to improve. Like, it's not really something that's on my mind, I guess. But it's cool to think that, like, maybe 3 to 4 years later, it's gonna be even like more big than it already is.
Yeah, the 3 to 4 years later, you kind of become the not become the Saint Vicious, but you
in a legacy.
Yeah, you intern. You eventually might reinvent yourself into something, unless you're still playing or
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing then. I'll be too old.
Way too old. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so being that pioneer, what are some of your biggest differences between living in a gaming house and that what most normal people would define as living in like a normal house? So just playing at home online, or even just going over to someone's house to play together with your team.
How is it different then?
Yeah, gaming and then like a normal house.
I mean, gaming house, like, I guess it kind of depends what team you're on, because sometimes you're just going to have, like, a whole mix of personalities. Like, not everyone's going to be very, like, some people are going to be shy, some people are going to be, like, outgoing, but, so you just kind of have, like, mix and match almost. And sometimes you just kind of have to suck it up as well. Like, sometimes you're just going to have people that you don't really want to work with, or, like, that are kind of annoying to you, but you still work with them. But yeah, you really have to be like easygoing, I think, in order for you to work with players, or like in order for you to improve as a team and work with players. So, but it's fun overall.
Yeah, without a doubt, this is an environment with a lot of opportunities for, like, you have to bounce things off of each other, like a lot of criticism sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially if things go wrong, and so if you're a little stubborn on something like that, then I can see it would become difficult. But it's speaking back to the off season, it's been a really active one. And in terms of player movement, with all the, like, every NA team pretty much changing at least a player, if not complete ownership.
Right.
And specifically talking about the duo lane, how confident do you feel knowing that that it's pretty much something new for everybody, that all the duo lanes are mixed up?
Yeah, I think every single duo lane is pretty much different, if I'm thinking correctly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure every single one. So it doesn't really cross my mind. I just already knew that since we were going to be one of those as well, like we're one of the different bot lanes. I just have to work well with Kiwi, and not only just working well with Kiwi, just working well with the team in general. And I think that should be number one priority for most teams at this point. It's just like knowing how to play as a team, just because it's all different, like every single roster pretty much.
And speaking of synergy, like, you've had some time to play with Kiwi, and of course, a lot of you guys, and even though you're in different teams, you spend so much time around with each other and playing against each other online. How are you and Kiwi?
Me and Kiwi actually go back. Like, we used we used to play Dota together. And yeah, like back in the Warcraft 3 days, I was like super young. I must have been like 12 or something. But then, I mean, we knew each other, like, just kind of when I was on Coast as well. Like, we just talked. We played together sometimes. But yeah, I mean, we're on good terms. We're cool. We're getting along, and yeah, we're doing well.
And do you think that synergy is, like, clearly it's an important part of every team, but do you think that if you had to make a choice, or if there was a difference between someone that's like really good synergy and a trade-off between like just pure skill put together in a duo lane, do you think one of the other is more important or more successful?
I mean, synergy is kind of an overused term, I think, at this point. Like, synergy is it just means that you've like played together a long time, so you know what they're gonna do, right? Like, I think it's like that's kind of the point of synergy. But when you don't have that much time to like work with each other, I think it's just about communication. and communication will just help speed that process forward, right? So just between communication, I think that's the most important, and compared to like skill. So I think communication / synergy is better than just raw skill in most cases, yeah.
Like, yeah, it'll be tough to overcome like a faker in the
exactly. If there's a faker in the bot lane, then maybe he can probably just 1v2, but I think like communication and synergy is really important. Yeah.
And in those situations where up against some really good talent, up against a lot of pressure, and even Kiwi's talked about how towards the end of last season, how he's felt like if he doesn't get much farther than he has in the past, that he's feeling like the quote is he'll probably quit if he doesn't get that far. Do you feel pressure competing at a high level like the LCS? Like to get high, not just competing, but like to, of course, the cliche,
right?
Go to Worlds.
I mean, yeah, I think last season was probably when I felt a lot of pressure as well. Just being on tip, I think we had the potential to go to Worlds, and we fell short in multiple occasions. So, I think it's the same amount of pressure, to be honest.
And the idea, like the quote, like we want to go to Worlds. That's like the overarching goal.
Right there, just like the goal, just always for everyone.
And a little bit like synergy, it can sometimes feel overused, but at the same time, it really is one of the only things you can really say, because that's what there is. That's it.
That's it, pretty much. Yeah, just Worlds. It's not like you're gonna be like, oh, I can't wait to go to playoffs, because that's pretty shitty.
Well, yeah, you want to go to playoffs, but like that's
not a good goal. I mean, that's what I meant to say. Yeah.
No, yeah. It's kind of the spirit overused thing, but really it kind of is. Yeah, it is it. But so, speaking of the game itself, the changes in meta, but the pace of the game is accelerated. It feels like quite a bit since last season, and being aggressive in lane and trying to make plays is a lot more rewarding now because of the potential snowballs that can result in like one-sided wins more easily. Do you think that this will benefit how you play, like kind of be more snowbally in lane and early on, or do you think you might need to change up?
I think it's kind of weird because in the bot lane, like, yeah, it can be snowbally, but usually it's dependent on your team to help you. Like 2v2s, it doesn't happen that often unless you're in solo queue. So usually it's like a passive bot lane, and then unless you do like a 4-man play with your team or like a 5-man play with your team, and then you can play aggressive. But it's not even just bot lane at that point. It's just like everyone. So I don't think it affects too much in the bot lane. I know teams can play, or bot lanes can play aggressive. It's good, but sometimes it's just too risky. So you just end up farming. Okay,
so rather than it's just you don't want to gamble.
Right, especially taking the risk, and especially in competitive play. Like you'll notice that. Like maybe in scrims, I mean nobody gets to see scrims obviously, but like in scrims, like, you'll see maybe more aggressive play. But then when it comes time, like on stage, the people are just playing really passive, and they're just waiting for their team to help do something instead of making like a 2v2 gamble play.
Yeah, it's good to try to take those gambles to see if it's actually viable.
Right.
Where it's better to do it safer, and then if it's viable, then you do it where it's volatile.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But do you think that the marksman role itself has been kind of given the right tools to do what it needs to in order to actually be a really good presence on a team? Do you think that all those different changes, those champions, are for the better?
Feels the same. Like those changes actually didn't change that much, except for like maybe Misfortune. Like it's weird. Actually, that's actually not even a change though, because it was mainly just a champion like buff. So basically, what they did was they tried to like have all these new items and like a lot of new kits, correct? But it really feels like they just kind of changed some champions and then just made their kits like slightly stronger, but the AD carry role, it still feels the same. Like you still are kind of a supportive threat. You're not trying to make a play ever unless you're maybe like Callista, maybe, you know what I mean? Like you're mainly just in a backline threat and then doing as much damage as possible, but you're not like controlling the pace of the game. Like you're still working with your teammates to do, objective gameplay.
Transitioning over more towards the sight aspect of the game, the rule of the sight ward, and of course changing up a little of the trinkets a little bit. What can you talk about that and how that's changed the competitive meta?
I think the trinkets are a pretty big change, just because you have a lot more vision in the early game. Like your jungler can easily get 2 wards in the jungle, or like your support can also move into the jungle to get wards down.
Like invasive wards?
Right, invasive wards, yeah. Invasive wards in the jungle. And then I think, so the trinkets and as well as the vision ward, the pink ward, is something that you have to buy like on every single person, and all like constantly think about how you're going to use it, like defensively, aggressively, or even like just neutral wards. And yeah, so I think it's different, but it's something that teams will get used to. Of course, it's just like a matter of knowing how you're going to use them.
And there have been some like talks maybe on like Reddit or something like that of talking about some champions like Twitch Vayne or maybe even Evelyn about how, do you think the division will affect them at all? The differences in that?
I think it's kind of annoying having to, or not being able to use your red trinket or like the upgraded one to see like Rengar, Twitch, Evelyn, Vayne, stuff like that. But I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly. Pink wards are just going to be just as effective in that case, and yeah, so it's just the same.
Yeah, true. A pink ward would potentially be maybe advantageous because if you say sweep the wrong circle,
yeah,
you completely miss the Rengar coming. Whereas you put a vision ward like right on top of yourself, you see the Rengar coming a second. Yeah. All right, but heading to the last bits of the interview, we'll talk about. I mean, you've had some time to play with the guys. How has it been like back in Cologne with in scrims and in general in the house? How do you think you guys are going to do this split?
I think we will do well. Everyone's going to say that, but yeah, I don't know. I think we'll do fine. Everyone in the house is nice. It's different from last season because last season we had non-English speakers or like just very broken English. It was more fun talking with like English speakers and just getting along with everyone. It's really good.
And do you have any personal goals that you think that you like to accomplish this season or this split in particular? I mean, yeah, you could say was, but anything specific?
Oh, I mean, I don't think so. I think it's more of like a team thing. Just do it with my team, and yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, it is a team game, and you gotta get with them at the same time. All right. Do you have any shout outs at the end of the interview? Anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, shout outs to my fans that support me, and shout outs to fans of Team Dignitas support us, and shout out to our sponsors, Alienware, Corsair, DX Racer, Western Digital, Iyama, and something. Yeah, thanks to those guys.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys, everyone, for watching. And if you'd like to check out any more, check out our YouTube channel, follow us on social media, and we'll see you at the LCS.
Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back to another Team Dignitas interview. Today we have Raz, the new head coach.
Fight! One.